is time on in Assam while the rest of the country prepares to celebrate and bring in the new year. There are many in Assam who are cowering. They're literally cowering because 31st is the deadline for the National Register of Citizens to be published there. It'll be the first time after 1951 that the government will identify who is a citizen and who is an illegal migrant. Remember, this is a contentious issue in the state with indigenous people and their movements and student movements all demanding that all illegal migrants and those from Bangladesh who have come in after 1971 should be deported from India. It has formed the basis of a lot of violence in the state, a lot of disturbance. And there are a couple of issues now facing the government there before the deadline. One, the BJP has promised during the elections that Hindus from Bangladesh who have come will not be sent back. Now, this is not acceptable to local groups like the All Assam Students Union and others who are asking, why are you discriminating on the basis of religion? Why are Muslim migrants not okay, but you are willing to accommodate the Hindu migrants? They are saying that all of them, because they eat into jobs and resources for the local community, they're saying everybody should be sent back if they've come in after 1971. Now, the other issue, how do you carefully go through the process of figuring out the credentials of more than 3.2 crores people? One man has committed suicide. We're going to just play out that story for you. He's committed suicide because he didn't have the papers for one of his daughters in a Muslim-dominated area of Assam. Now, the centre's gearing up with extra forces in the state, especially in the 11 districts which have a Muslim majority. But is a foolproof system in place? We'll just play out that report for you. But before that, we pose this question to Chief Minister Sarbanand Sonowal. Remember, he is the person who has a lot of credit. A lot of people regard him for the fact that he is the one who challenged the IMDT Act, which actually put the onus on the state to prove that someone is a migrant. Now, it's like in the rest of the country, the person being accused of that has to prove their citizenship. This is what Chief Minister Sonowal said about how they're gearing up and all the kind of niggling problems, because remember, it's an infrastructural challenge. How do you go through the documents of so many people? This is what CM said.
We are also committed for a error-free anarchy in Assam, and in this regard, we are fully cooperating to the NRC authority. In this regard, like more than 40,000 state government officials, they are engaged and they are working hard to extend their full support.
So the Chief Minister says everyone's working hard. The Home Ministry in Delhi has said that they're all prepared. They've sent in many forces apart from the officials over there who are going through all those paperwork. But it is very, very intimidating for a lot of the people in villages who are uneducated, who are poor, who are afraid that they're going to be termed just because they're Muslims and they don't have the paperwork, that they're going to be termed an illegal migrant even though they've been here for generations. NDTV's Ratnadeep went to all these areas and spoke to a wide variety of people, and he found a family where someone had committed suicide because they were so scared. He had the paper for all of his children except one, and that, they say, drove him to suicide. We'll talk about this very complex issue, which is a major challenge nationally as well, in just a bit. First, let's take a look at this special report.
9-year-old Jahanara Khatun from Jaleswar holds the voters' rolls, proof that her father, Anwar Hussain, was Indian. It is, at best, a symbolic gesture. On the 3rd of December, he committed suicide by drinking pesticide. His family is devastated. They say the trigger was a notice on the 1st of December they received from the local office of the National Register of Citizens asking him to submit the birth certificate of his daughter Jahanara.
The certificate is a kind of proof that the NRC requires to prove nationality by its concept of family tree. The cut-off date for this is 1971. Anyone who has entered Assam before 1971 will be considered as an Indian, and those who have entered after 1971 would be considered as foreigners. Now families would have to prove that they are descendants of people who have been in Assam pre-1971.
In the case of Anovar's family, his father, Tohuruddin, has proof that he is Indian. He shows up in the last NRC, or the National Register of Citizens of India, that was conducted in 1951. Anovar has proof through electoral rolls that he is the son of Tohuruddin. Birth certificates of his children, including Jahanara, would prove they are descendants and therefore legal citizens. Except Jahanara, all of Anovar's remaining 6 children have certificates from school attesting their date of birth. That panicked Anovar, says his family.
শুক্রবারে নোটিশ দিল ওই দিন থেকে ওইতে যায় নিয়ে আসলো নিয়ে আসার পরে মানে কাগজ নিয়ে হাতে নিয়ে আর ঝরিয়ে গেছে কয় আমাকে আমার মরণ হয়েছে নাকি আবুল তাবুল বেসাল পারছে মানে ডরাইছে কাগজ ওই দিনকে দিছে কাগজ দিয়ে মানে আর আত্মাই লেগেছে আর কিছুই না খালি শুধু কাগজ নিয়ে আমার স্বামী মারা গেল.
The panic was further fueled by the Supreme Court's deadline to the NRC to put out its first draft by the 31st of December this year. Anovar, who is poor and illiterate, had no idea how to get a birth certificate. The local primary school headmaster says they asked him to get back with details as his daughter had stopped attending classes about 4 years ago.
ধরা ছোৱালীটোৰ জন্ম কোন চনত হৈছে হিটো যদি মোটামুটি তুমি ক'ব পাৰা তেনেহ'লে জন্মৰ লগত আৰু 5 বছৰ বা 6 বছৰ প্লাস কৰি আমি এডমিশন খাতাটো ওলাব পাৰিম তেতিয়াও আমি দিব পাৰিম কিন্তু হি একটা চনো মোটামুটি ক'ব পৰা নাই দিব পৰা নাই তাৰ পিছত তেওঁ আহি মোক কোৱাও নাই যে মই তো 3টা চনৰ এটা চনো মই নাপালো গতিকে মোৰ ছোৱালীটোৰ সাৰ্টিফিকেট দিব লাগে যিকোনো উপায় আপুনি খাতাপত্ৰ বিচাৰি চাওক.
At the local outpost of the NRC, they say it's wrong to attribute the death to the verification drive.
वो नोटिस हमारा एरिया में है और मेरा दस्तखत किया हुआ एप्लीकेशन है. मुझे बहुत शौक लगा. बाद में हम तहकीकात किया था जो ऐसा क्यों हुआ. हमने एमएलए सबकी बातचीत किया था ऐसा इस सिलसिले में. वो बोला तो नहीं वो फैमिली रीजन है वो बहुत दबाव में था.
3506.
That may be so, but there is little doubt that the sheer scale of the NRC makes it a fraught exercise. 3.25 crore people have submitted documents. Till today, the verification process of about 2 crore is complete. The remaining 1.25 crore has to be done by the 31st of December. The Supreme Court has asked the NRC to publish at least whatever has been done.
We are inside the data center of the NRC, the war room where over 500 truckloads of data documents have been digitized. The documents submitted by 32.5 million people of Assam who are seeking to find out who among them are genuine Indians and who are foreigners.
NRC authorities admit that the process is complex, but they say they are doing their best to ensure that no one is wrongly labelled a foreigner.
We have digitized all these legacy data, so that is one part of the entire exercise. So the next complexity that comes in ways that the NRC authorities, they will check the veracity of the document by verifying it through the issuing authority, and they will do it by comparing with the official records that are available at their back end. So that is the next complexity, part of complexity and scale also. Now the scale here is that we have around 6.63 crore documents which have to be verified like this by cross-checking with the issuing authorities, and whosoever is drawing descendants of the same ancestor, we are checking for consistency amongst them whether they are siblings or not, so that nobody tries to use somebody else's father to draw their descendants from that person.
The act of determining citizenship has always been viewed with deep suspicion by Assam's Muslims, who see it as a way of disenfranchising them by Assam's Hindu-majority governments. Some, however, welcome the NRC, since it's run by the centre and supervised by the Supreme Court.
I don't think, you see, NRC is very important, and particularly Muslim needs more. They think that NRC is most essential for the Muslim people because they are doubted, they are suspected to be Bangladeshis. So as soon as NRC becomes complete, it is there for their benefit.
But equally, there are concerns that the poor will be the most vulnerable, given that they often do not have sufficient documentation. This has in the past led them to be targeted as part of a parallel drive carried out by the police to identify foreigners.
History is testimony that Indian citizens has been targeted, has been abused, has been disenfranchised in the name of Bangladeshis. Genuine Indian citizens have been declared as foreigners because of minor anomalies. They have been disenfranchised in the name of de-voters. Most of them has been held as Indian citizens by the Foreigners Tribunal. Now this is the final opportunity to put a full stop.
The anxiety plays out in Jaleshwar, a Muslim majority area in Gwalpara district, 190 kilometers away from Guwahati. Here, people have been provisionally ID'd as foreigners and tried through foreigners' tribunals in large numbers. And now the officials from the NRC have come knocking. Noor Alam, a petty farmer, and his wife, Asma Khatun, are tense. Their 5-year-old daughter, Mariam Begum, figures in the list of people to be verified. They don't have a birth certificate. All they have is a handwritten certificate from the local government health facility. This makes it hard for them to prove Mariam is a descendant of Alam.
অঙ্গনবাদী কর্মী দিবার চাইছে বলে আনি নেই আর কি ও কয় যে আমরা দিমু আর কি আমার ঠোনাইছে ও অর্ডারটা আসে নাই ও অর্ডারটা আসলি সার্টিফিকেটটা দিমু আমার ওই আশায় আছে আর কি
And there is more trouble. There are minor discrepancies in Noor Alam's father's name between the 1951 NRC and other official documents, a common problem amongst the poor. But these patchy records have earlier led to many being declared as illegals by tribunals. The village elders say the entire process has been nerve-wracking.
সন্দেহ মানে যে নামৰ পাৰ্থক্যৰ কাৰণে কি জানি আমাক মানে খেদুৱাই দেয় নাকি মোৰ কাগজপাতি হয় না নহয় এটোতো সঁচা কথা এটো আৰু কিবা আছে বিভিন্ন ধৰণৰ অসুবিধা আমি পৰি আছো বেছিভাগ আমাৰ মুছলিম মানুহৰ এনেকুৱা প্ৰব্লেম আছে কাগজপাতি ওই যে নামৰ অলপ খেলিমেলি যেটা উপমা এটা দিলো যে আমার এনআরসিত আছে তোফাইল আহমেদ ৬৬ তাহিয়া হল তুফাইল আহমেদ
There is a reverse concern amongst those like the All Assam Students Union, which spearheaded the drive to evict illegals in the 80s. They fear forgeries, which the NRC may not be able to detect.
Here the all illegal Bangladeshis, they are trying to enroll their name in the updated NRC by giving false statement. Even they have acquired passport also. In some areas they were arrested also. So it's a design of the Bangladeshi lobby, patronized by the political party leaders, to enroll their name in the updated NRC by giving false statement. So we are appealing to the employees and officers to be honest on this cause.
No genuine Indian citizen will be left out. While at the same point of time, our system is so strong that it will ensure that no ineligible person gets out. However, at this point of time, one message that we have to communicate to the people, which has come post latest order of the Honorable Supreme Court, is that this is a partial list. So those people whose names do not get included this time, it does not mean that they are excluded. They'll have to wait for the next list to come out.
As the deadline approaches, the government is worried that publishing the lists may spark tension. The 11 Muslim-dominated districts of Assam are reportedly the most vulnerable. The centre has sent an estimated over 5,000 troops.
As we progress, we'll be reviewing on a day-to-day basis. But yes, definitely the venue of the display of draft NRC would be one area where we'll be focusing. Again, going by the sensitivity index of the state as a whole, different pockets and all.
The 31st December deadline is approaching and NRC authorities claim that they have done enough to make people aware that this is just a draft list. Even then, the challenge is huge. They have to verify claims of nearly 2 crore people, and that has left Assam anxious. In Guwahati, with Sanjay Chakravarti and Nakul Rabha, Ratndeep Chaudhary for NDTV.
So a real dilemma there, real problem there, and will things fall into place on the 31st is what we have to wait and see. How are they gearing up for all these challenges, the challenges of scrutinizing all these documents, then also the human factor. Imagine someone committing suicide because they are so afraid that one of their children, all other children, their paperwork is fine because one person's paperwork wasn't there, that they commit suicide. It is a tremendous challenge for the authorities, and we're also told that some parts of it, the center may be asking for a deadline to this. So to talk about this, we are joined from Guwahati. We're joined by Aman Wadud, who's a human rights lawyer. We're also joined by the leader of the opposition in Assam, Devarbrata Saikia, and Rajat Sethi, who is an author and who also works with the India Foundation, which is led by Ram Madhav. Aman Wadud, if I can just start with you, our special report from Assam focused on the story of this man whose children, one of his children didn't have the papers and he'd lost it, and the desperation of that, the tragic desperation of this man who feared that his child would then be deported and he commits suicide. Now, is that a rare story, or have you heard of other such instances of people being just driven to desperation because they're so scared of being sent back after the 31st?
See, in this particular case, it seems that because of lack of awareness this happened. So obviously people are apprehensive because there has always been targeted in the name of illegal immigrants and Bangladeshis. When this very well-intended, very rational judgment from the Supreme Court came, people welcomed it with open arms. Everyone was of the view, because I have heard entire minority-dominated district. So people were paid up the form with all enthusiasm that after the NRC is updated, this problem, this harassment is due to stop. So obviously, I mean, you know, in this case, because there was a birth certificate, the problem with the poor people is that, you know, they don't register their children's birth. So this is one issue. So otherwise, you know, genuine Indian citizens, obviously, there is no fear or apprehension as of such that name will not come because of lack of document. Everyone has document. Everyone has document. So because of this small minor anomalies, there is obviously fear and apprehension. And the fact that, hello?
Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
That's what I mean. Because of this minor anomalies and the lack of awareness, this unfortunate tragedy happened.
Well, the other thing that Ratnadeep's story seemed to illustrate is the fact that it is a race against time. He filed this report perhaps last week. By that time, 2 crores out of the 3.2 crore people, 2 crore people's papers were still being verified. Do you think that they'll be able to complete all of this by the deadline?
See, like the NRC coordinator, Mr. Pratik Hazara said that the first draft will come on 31st December, according to the judgment of the Honorable Supreme Court. So the second draft will come in a later date. So those people whose name will not feature in these first draft will come in the second draft. So by then all the documents will be verified.
So Devarbrata Saikia, as an opposition leader in Assam, what are the things, I'm sure that all of you have, you know, are watching the proceedings with a hawk eye, and what problems do you anticipate, if any, in this entire process?
See, actually, though it may be initially it was difficult to go ahead with the NRC. Only after intervention of the Supreme Court we are able to do it now because of some other problems. But once it is done, it will, for once and all, will settle the issue of suspected citizens, doubtful citizens in Assam. And everybody is welcoming this decision to update, so everyone will cooperate. Actually, 1971, 24th March is the deadline, up to which date anyone who was in India from erstwhile East Pakistan will be in the NRC, and those people who were in the 1951 NRC. So I don't think that many people will be left out, and it will be having
but isn't the figure, sir, 50 lakhs
will consist of only Indian citizens.
Right. The number of estimated,
no, that has come down, and initially it was a decision of the Guwahati High Court that Panchayat certificate will not be accepted. But afterwards, Supreme Court has decided that it will be accepted after re-verification. And Panchayat is a constitutional body. It will not abruptly or discriminately issue a certificate.
Okay.
It has its own responsibilities. So we value the officials of the Panchayat. We trust them. So we don't think that many people will be left out.
So that's the interesting thing about this. For an outsider watching, what's interesting about this is that everybody, you're right, in Assam, everybody wants this to have a kind of closure, to have the final word on this, because in 1951 was the last such register of citizens. Now we're going to have that. Everybody wants to know what the official word is, and because of the Supreme Court involved, everybody thinks that this will be the final word. It will just settle the issue once and for all. However, Rajat Sethi, do you think there's a little bit of problem over here because of the fact that the BJP has made a promise in its election campaign that they will accommodate the Hindus who have been driven from Bangladesh or who've come in from Bangladesh because they may have been persecuted, they want shelter over here, but the locals don't want them. They don't care if they're Muslims or they're Hindus. They're saying, no, we just want people who came in before 1971. After that, no, it's not acceptable. So is that a huge problem for the government there?
Well, Sunetra, let me try to explain you that the situation is not as simple as you would want to portray it to be.
I'm sure it's not, yeah.
No, therefore, let me complete now. And I hope that you'll give me a minute to explain this. The citizenship bill that the central government has proposed clearly states that the politically persecuted community or specific group, religious group, will be taken in by the country. Therefore, it does not say that Assam has to bear most of the burden of incoming Hindus who are being politically persecuted within Bangladesh and have to come down to Assam. So nowhere in any bill has this been mentioned, number one. Number two, and a very important point is that Muslim migrants who came in from Bangladesh were economic refugees. You need to understand the difference between who were economic refugees and who were genuine politically persecuted group who came in for political refuge. And it is this differentiation that has to be kept in mind when you're trying to understand where the citizenship bill is coming in from. So therefore, I'll again repeat, let us not communalize the NRC issue at all. There have been Assamese Muslims who are ethnic Assamese Muslims who have been living in Assam for centuries. And do not simplify NRC issue that one group or one family does not have a birth certificate will be made automatically an illegal citizen. The situation and the process is not that simple. It's a very comprehensive process.
Yes.
If you do not have one document, the family trees are looked into. Your residential statuses are looked into.
Sure.
It's not like you don't have one piece of paper and therefore your citizenship is going to vanish.
No, Rajat,
and let me tell you one more thing. One more thing, Sunitra.
Okay.
One more thing.
Okay.
And because of political patronage of one political party in Assam, which has ruled for the maximum number of years, for decades in the past, have issued false identification documents to bulk of the citizens. This is an important thing, and I would want to ask Devabrata Saikia is here, the kind of political patronage the illegal migrants have been getting.
You've made that point. I want a clarification on something that you said. You said there is a difference between the economic refugees and those who came in because they were being persecuted. No, what I wanted to ask you was, but the AGP and others have all protested. Even the ASU have said they've protested about the bill. About the citizens bill you're referring to. So what I wanted to ask is that has that differentiation been made by the state government? Are they clear about how they accommodate their promise?
Assam should not face the entire burden of the incoming political refugees within the state. They believe that the entire country should share the burden. That is their political standpoint. Fair enough. Let us debate on that. But you cannot say that both the issues of having people who are coming in to grab economic resources of one state and are systematically coming in through political patronage for 3 long decades sidelines.
Yeah, very quickly, very quickly, Aman Wadood, yeah.
No, this person is trying to make a case that there is still immigration. He's talking about economic migration. Migration happened 150 years ago. It started 150 years ago.
No, sir. Mr. Aman, we are talking about a specific timeline.
He came with the report in 1921. Please let me finish. You made your
I think we shout at each other. We're not really going to resolve anything. I think what it does establish is the fact that it is a very contentious, complicated issue. Aman Wadood, Rajat Sethi, I know this requires a lot more debate, a lot more discussion, because I think everyone's trying to figure out. We've been speaking to lots of BJP leaders and they accept that there is a problem which they'll have to resolve. That's what the centre, the MHA and the state government is trying to figure out. What do they do about this particular issue where there is a huge pushback from the locals? Well, this is something we will keep tracking, especially in the new year, because 31st is the deadline. But just to give you an instance of how it's all shaping up, will the Supreme Court allow, and will everyone, most of the people there in Assam, be happy with the citizens list, or will there be larger repercussions? Remember, it's something that they're hoping doesn't become larger and has the impact on the law and order situation in the state as well. That's it on Reality Check. We'll be again back tomorrow. Join us then. Goodbye.